Here. So welcome to our Working with Portraits webinar designed to support the Memory Book Online Yearbook program. Our goal this afternoon will be to focus on functions of the program associated with student portraits. Specifically, we will be reviewing uploaded images, printing class sheets for other teachers or parents to review and correct. We're going to go over strategies for detecting duplicate images, correcting student names, categorizing students, and then finally wrapping up use the flow function to build us some class pages. So this webinar is approximately going to be about 30 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So if you've already had a chance to send in your class photos to us, awesome. If you're still needing to get your class photos to us, so if you get your class photo, a lot have been going digital downloads this day. Not too many physical CDs are being sent out to advisors or customers anymore. So when you get your link, what you'll want to do, if you get a link from a photographer to download your photos, you will want to forward that on to your customer service rep here, your sales rep. And you're also going to let them know how you would like those sorted. So there's two sort methods we go by. There's grade level, which is everybody in the same grades uploaded into the same folder. And then there's the more broken down sort, which is by teacher homeroom. And that kind of breaks things down by individual class. Now, in forwarding that, usually LifeTouch doesn't have any login information in that, but if some do, just make sure you provide that login to your sales rep, and that way production is able to download your images and get them uploaded to your Memory Book Online account. If you are sent a physical CD, what you could do, there's a couple different ways. You could if you want to mail that CD in, contact your sales rep and they will send you out one of the padded envelopes that has the form on there to where you fill out, how you want them sorted. There's also another way you can send those in digitally by pulling it off and transferring over our FTP site. So if you have that, or what you could do there, either contact your sales rep to get FTP information, or you can call or contact us here in tech support to see if you're set up to send those over digitally through our FTP site. All right, so we're going to jump in here just to where you'll find your class photos whenever they're uploaded. So once your class photos are uploaded, we typically send out an email notification letting you know that they're here and ready for you. So once you get that notification, you'll come in here, you'll go under Create, and then you're going to go into Image Library. And we'll load this up. Anytime you first come into the site for the first time of a day, or any day, you always get greeted by this little welcome message about your folder states. You can then go ahead and hit OK here. And your class photos will actually show up in the categories over here on the left, and they're going to show up under the portrait section. So whenever you get in here, click on the little arrow next to portrait, and that'll expand and you can see your folders. Now mine are set up right now by teacher homeroom, so they're more broken down. I just went ahead and also added the grade level beside them, just kind of help as a visual there. Now if yours are uploaded by grade level, a lot of times you'll see just numbers for the folders, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, so on. So once you get and you see your folders here, if you just click on any one of your folders, it is then going to preview those images out to the right here. So the first thing is when you first get this, there's a lot of things to kind of check over before you really want to get them on the class pages. One, you need to, are the students in the right classes? Do I have the right names? And one of the best ways to approach that off the bat is by printing class sheets. So to do that, what you'll do is all you'll have to do is just select a folder, and then you're going to come up here and hit the preview button. And what this will do is the program is then going to generate a composite PDF proof here that you can either download and send digitally to teachers or whoever the volunteers are, if you have volunteers. Or you can actually print these out and hand these out to the teachers, just a physical printout there. So ideally, when you hand those out, ideally what you'll want to see is you'll have them mark these up, cross off if a student isn't theirs, or maybe they might like put a star or something on it and say, actually needs to be in this class. Mark them up with any name corrections that you may see. So that's really kind of the point of the class sheets here, is getting those out to teachers or other class volunteers that can check the teacher list just to make sure that, everybody is supposed to be in this class. Names are correctly spelled. That way you don't have any embarrassments, like when a kid gets the book or a parent sees their kid's book misspelled or anything like that. So definitely make use of getting these out there. That way, you have people helping, and that way, if you're taking this project on, you don't know who is supposed to be in a class, then hopefully the teachers can help you out with that. So printing class sheets, that is ideally what we'll do there. So I'm going to click back to the program here. All right, so now once we're back inside, or let's say you got your class sheets back, and what are some of those organizing things that you can do? Well, in the event of, let's say that, as you're clicking through your folders, maybe you notice that, one of your students here is in the wrong folder. So what do you do? The easiest thing to do as far as moving students around, if you need to move them from class to class, is just grab a hold of the photo and drag and drop it over to the class that it needs to be in. Once you drag it into another class, that image will then automatically alphabetize itself where it needs to be. So you just to move it, just drag and drop to the folder you need it to be in. So when it comes to then, let's say if you're going through and you're looking for name misspellings or anything like that. Let's see. Change this real quick here. Okay. So let's say if we need to change any names, and I'm just going to use this one here. I'm going to open up, double click on the photo. It's going to bring up the image in a little image correction or a little image preview window. And then off to the right hand side, you'll see you have a name tag here. To fix the name or edit the name, just click the little edit pencil here. You'll then get another little prompt, and it'll just basically, it's saying, only use this to correct a misspelled name. So if the name and student don't match, don't use this, because it could kind of make things go wonky or put different names on wrong students. So yeah, only use this to correct a misspelling. We're going to hit continue. And so right now I have it as first name is Marie Abney. So what if it was just Mary Abney? So I'll change the name to Mary, and I'm going to hit save. And that is all that has to be done to correct a name. So again, and let's see, I'll just pick another one here. So instead of Diane Adams, what if it's Diana Adams? Again, on the tag, click the little pencil, hit continue, and then we can make the name change here. Oop. Go, hit save. And then now if any name changes, like if it's the last name or anything, any of the name changes here, if it will change the alphabetical order, they'll go ahead and, it'll go ahead and put it in the right spot. Even when you're organizing your class photos and you drag and drop them to another folder, they'll automatically go in alphabetical order whenever you move them to another folder. Some other things that we can do under here, let's see, where is a class? And I used this example the other day. I didn't really have any true duplicates of some students here, but I did have a couple of twins that were in a class here. So if the twins, what happens when you get, I used them kind of as an example of a duplicate image. Sometimes when the photographer sends the files, and depending on when they send them, they could have the retakes included. So if then you'll have actually two pictures of the state of the same student within the folder. All right. So how do you take care of duplicates or retakes? Um, what we suggest is, I mean, the advisor does have the ability to delete them, but what we suggest is to actually mark them as do not use. And that's just a way to keep the image in the program, but telling the flow to skip over that image. Because there's been quite a few, you never know if there's a situation where maybe something's going out. Maybe a parent has contacted the school or the yearbook advisor and said, hey, we really liked their photo from the original picture day as opposed to, the makeup picture day, or, something vice versa. Let's say that maybe the original photo was used or going to be used in the book, but maybe the parent wants the retake because it looks, much better, some situation. So if you delete it, then there's really not a way for you, the advisor, to get back to it. You'd have to put in an emergency call to us, and then we would restore the photo within the library. But if you mark it do not use, it's going to be easily available to you to switch the two out. Put one back in to say use, and then mark the other. So how do you do this? So like again, I didn't have a true duplicate, but I did have these twins. So let's just say I'm going to go with the one that has the better smile here. So I'm going to take the photo that I'm not using. I'm going to double click on it, and that's going to bring it up into a preview image here. And going to go over to the details tab. And then I'm looking at the second spot down where it says use portrait. You're just going to change that to don't use portrait and then apply changes. And then you can hit done. So you're keeping the image in the program. You're just telling the flow to skip over that one whenever it's time to bring them onto pages. Another one of the neat things here, and I'm going to actually mark one little thing different here, and I'll come back to it later. But it involves if you have the teacher that's in the class there too. So there's not much to do when your class photos get in is really, as far as in the image library, it's, making sure that you got names, checking your rosters, make sure that you have everybody. And another thing you want to do is kind of keep track of, your numbers on, how many students that you have in some of these folders. Now, one other place I'm going to show you here real quick that'll help if you're adjusting names or that, if you're finding them. If we go under the Create menu and go to the Coverage Report. So what the Coverage Report is whenever your class photos are uploaded, and it has all those tagged names, the program will go ahead and create the Coverage Report based on those tagged names. It's just another area where you could then come through and if you're going down through here, you can kind of check names to check for duplicates if you do have any. So that's another kind of way that you could look for duplicates, is if you have two of the same name tag. Now, you will have students that do have the same name. In really large schools, it's gonna be a little more common. So it's just a way to keep an eye out, and one way you can check for duplicates. To change a name in this area, all you have to do is just kind of click into the box. I'm going to use that Mary Abney example again. So I'm just going to change this back to Marie. Now, any changes that you make into a name in their coverage report will automatically update it in the image library as well, and vice versa. So any changes that you make to a name tag that's in the image library will then update here in the coverage report as well. Um, Typically, what we also use this for is the coverage report also helps keep track of tagged images used in the book. So ideally, like if you have your class photos uploaded and then you start uploading candids, you can then tag those candids with these names, and the coverage report will then keep track of um, those tags once they're placed on pages. So it's just a kind of a fair play system. But really I want to just touch base on this area just to let you know it's another spot that you can come through and easily fix names. If you get a teacher list back, you'll be like, oh wow, all these names are misspelled, or if you have a lot, this is just an easy spot to come through and fix those quickly, and just another area to help check for duplicates. Let's see, gonna go back to the image library real quick. I think we're pretty much set here. So again, double click on the photo. If double clicking on the photo doesn't work for you to bring it up in the preview window, there's also a little blue information eye here that you can click and it'll bring up the photo as well. Okay, so drag and drop to move them around, edit the name. I think we're good here. So from here, I'm going to go and I'm going to drop onto a page. And I'm going to go into the new page designer. And let's look for a page to work with here. Here we go. I'm going to start with a blank spread near the back here. All right. So when you're ready to bring your class photos onto a pages, one of the easiest and best ways to start this is using one of our pre-made portrait templates that we have. Those can be found if we go under the Designs tab here. So we'll go under the Designs tab, and then you're going to look under Portrait. Now, under Portrait, there's the All Portraits, where you definitely see all the portrait templates available, but that might take some time scrolling just to see here. But to kind of speed that up, the templates are sorted first by size of the photo box. So 4.4 by 6 picas, templates like that. Usually if I bring one on, have a lot of smaller boxes, so good for a lot of big high schools or middle schools that are here. So some boxes like that, some styles. Actually, I'll just kind of leave that on there. So the smaller the photo box, and 5 by 6, so the higher the pica size that we go up, the larger the photos will be there on a page. So kind of some medium range classes that are there. Now after we get through the size, the templates are then sorted again by the amount of photos or photo boxes in that template. When picking a template, what we suggest is picking a template based on your largest class size. And that way, when you go to flow all your classes in using that largest template, or the template based on your largest class size, putting those on all your flow pages, that just ensures that you'll have consistency through the book, and it creates a real nice, clean looking aesthetic, going through the whole book. Everyone's kind of the same size. Now, are you stuck into doing that? No. Use whatever template that you feel best or best fits your needs. Because time to time there may be, you may have some classes that have, this one class has 30, but then one of your, other kind of grade classes, well, maybe this class only has 12 kids, and you want to kind of bring them bigger onto the page just to kind of fill up more space. So These are your pages, so definitely feel free to drop on any template, use any style that you like or that you prefer. But just as a suggestion, if you're looking for consistency, pick a template based on your largest class, and then that way it'll just ensure you have that through the pages. Let's see here. I'm going to pick a 31 to 40 because I think most of my classes were like 30 in the 30s there. And let's see if I can find a template. Drop one on because you can kind of go across and do a dual spread, something like that. So we'll start here. Now, the next thing that we'll do is, if you're ready to bring students into these, you can come down and you can go to the flow tab. Now, on the flow tab, all you're going to do here, if you use a template that's on a page, then you pretty much have done this first part, is add a flow element. Because you don't have to start with a template. You are able just to start with a flow element and adjust it to your liking. And this is for some more of the, if you've used the program for a while, and for some of our more advanced users, we'll kind of start with these. But if you're looking to get it in, you're just learning the program, templates are the way to go. So you're going to get in here, you're going to pick the grade that you want to flow in. So I'm going to pick Dole here. And the next spot down is name format. This is how the names will appear on the page. It defaults to first last, but you're able to change it up to last first if you want it that way too. It's going to tell you, the flow tab is going to tell you how many images are in that folder, or if there's any flowed, or if there's any remaining. And then you're going to come to your start and stop. Now what this start and stop is your start page and stop page. So you get to control the page or page range that your group is flowing over. Smaller classes will probably have the start and stop set the same. It'll be the same page. Other classes, some you'll want to, if you want to spread them across a few different pages, or maybe you have a big middle school class and maybe you have 300 kids that you need to find kind of a smaller photo box template, you'll just make sure you drop that template on every page that you want the class to flow over. But then when you're looking at your start and stop, just make sure you have the appropriate page range here. So if the class that I have here at the moment, this Dole third grade, I've got 33 images. Now I got my start and stop set to 82. Now down below here in red, it's saying 0 available positions. So if something's not set up right, or maybe I've made some adjustments to a page and I haven't saved anything yet, you'll also always want to make sure that you're all saved up before you flow. And now once everything is correct, this little spot will then show, it'll highlight in white, and it'll show, how many available positions that you have. So in this case, I am set up to have all of this class set up to go onto this page. So I've got my start at 82, my stop at 82. This is showing that I've got all available positions. So I'm ready to put them in. Then I'll go down and hit flow. And what this will do is it'll take the students from that folder and their names and drop them into the template all at one time. So as long as your folder is set up as best as you can, names are fixed, the flow does usually drop in pretty nice. But what happens if we catch some stuff? So let's say the flow went through, but now you're finding a misspelling. And for this example, the teacher's right in the middle of the group of photos, and we want the teacher, let's say we want the teacher to be in the front spot. Okay, so we're going to have to make some adjustments. So anytime a flow goes through that doesn't go through the way that you want it, let's say it doesn't come on the way you exactly need it, or you catch some things and you need to correct it. The first thing that you'll do is, so if the flow doesn't go your way, or you catch some things and you know it's not right, the first thing you'll do is come back over to the flow tab, make sure you still have your category selected, and then down by the flow button, there is the reset button that is here. So if you click on reset, that's just going to pull everybody back out. Now you also notice that the flow takes some spots away here. It took these last 3 spots away. So one thing I'll show here is, so what if you made some adjustments, or maybe that you got a new student, or you're like, oh, I moved some stuff around, but I need another spot back to flow into. Because the flow's only going to take spots away. It's not going to add them back. So how do you add a spot back if you need one back? Well, you're going to okay, this whole section with the photo boxes is what we call a flow element here. So we're going to double click on our flow element, and you're going to notice everything kind of dims out around it, and it just focuses on the flow element. In the top corner of the flow element here, there's a little eyeball icon, and this is just a toggle. So you can, if you click that little icon, it'll flip those spots back on. You can also, let's say if I want to reflow this, and maybe I want to have the last 3 students that flowed in on this inside spot, I can go ahead and turn off these 3 spots just so they flow to the inside. Then I'm going to save my changes. Okay, so now, if you're set back, the way you have your template, you will need to go back to the image library to fix any changes. So I'm going to go into my Dole folder here, find my teacher, and let's say I want her to flow to the first spot. So I'm going to bring her up in the preview here. I'm going to go under the details tab, actually. And the second spot down here is use portrait. And, don't need use portrait, need type. Type is what we're looking for here. So I'm going to change this type of student, because any class photo upload to the program, this is the default setting for it. They're all typed as student. So with the teacher, I'm going to mark them as teacher. Now you'll see that there's a total of 4 types that we can do here, and it's a hierarchy. So any image marked as teacher will flow first, and then it's assistant. So anyone marked assistant will then flow anyone that's after marked teacher, student, and then other. So in this case, we've seen it to where if you want the teacher to flow in the very first spot, before the students, you would mark them as teacher. We have seen some other flows advisors have done in which they wanted the teacher to be the last spot on the page, to flow last. In that case, you would actually mark the teacher as other, because that's the lowest. It's the lowest hierarchy in the hierarchy there. So I'm actually going to have her flow first. I'm going to hit teacher, and then I'm going to hit apply changes, and then done. So once you've come back to the library, you have any changes done, like your teacher, you fixed maybe the other misspelling that you caught, or if you found, you have a duplicate, you have those marked. Once you have all your changes done, you're good to then come back and flow your students back in. Now, one quick thing that I'll show before we kind of wrap things up here is there are some simple formatting that you can do to your flow elements before you flow the class in. So let's say that you want to either make some adjustments to the student names, or maybe you're not too set on the square photo box and you want to kind of make those, another shape or rounded corners. So what you'll do there is if you select the flow element, you'll then get a toolbar that pops up above the page here. So right off the bat, you see you have a drop down that'll allow you to change your font style. You can then also change the font size. Now certain fonts may or may not have certain attributes like bold, italicized, or underlined, but here's where you would be able to do that as well. These two drop downs right here are for stroke size. So let's say that you maybe wanted to put a small simple border around your photos. You can select a stroke size. Now I'm just going to go with 1 point in this example. But as you go down the list, the higher the point, the thicker the stroke will be. So there's 9. So that's on there pretty thick. So I'm just going to go back to 1 point. Now let's say that you wanted to make these rounded corners or oval. Here is where on this toolbar you're going to see a little icon that has 9 little squares in a grid. We refer to it as the Belgian waffle because that just looks like a little Belgian waffle. So we're going to go under the flow options. And I'm actually going to unpin that to move it off to the side here a little bit. So on the flow options tab, if we come down here, there's a spot that says portrait shape. And below that is a spot for rounded corner. So if we wanted to do ovals, we could do circle. But you could, feel free. There's other shapes here. So if you wanted to do like trapezoids or even some cool parallelograms, you could do it that way as well. For now, I'm just going to go back to rectangle, and I'm going to round my corners just a little bit. And yeah, 15. I'll leave it at 15. That looks good. Now, after you make any changes, before you can flow anybody in, if you've had changes to the name, to the photo box, anything like that, or the photo box shape, make sure you come up and hit save. So we're going to hit save. And now we're going to go back to our flow tab. We're going to make sure we have our class that we want to flow in. Our start and stop is still set. We still have available positions. We're going to hit flow. And we're going to bring the students and the teachers now on the spot back into the page. So here's kind of the, when you build your class pages, definitely make sure, you want to get as much as you can in the image library kind of set up before. But like I said, mistakes happen. So that's why you got that reset button to pull everybody back out. So here's how we actually build class pages in MemoryBook Online. Now, as far as what we were going over tonight, basically that was kind of going through, organizing categories, getting on the pages. I'm going to open this up. If anybody has any questions, feel free. I have a little bit of time here, so if you have any questions, if you want to unmute and ask, that's fine. If you want to drop your question in the little chat box, we can. I can pick up on it there. Okay, so good question. What if I don't want the teacher picture included with the students in the flow? Oh, simple. We're just going to take them out. So let's say that you didn't want the teacher here at all. We're just going to reset. That's going to bring the teacher out. We would then go back to the image library. Usually when we upload your class photos, here at MemoryBook Company, we have your staff folder, but then we usually make a staff copy folder for you, for your images. But you could just or you could make a new category to move the teacher into. But all you really do here is just drag and drop the teacher out of that folder. And Once they're out of that folder, that just ensures that they won't flow in with the class. So simple as that. Just move the teacher out to another folder. But good question. Here, I'm just going to take them one in. If I want to use the facing page as a candidates page, who do I change, or how do I change the template? So on something like that, that's just coming over. If you want to go back over to the designs tab, and here's where I would go under page surfer, and we would look at candidates and candid pages. Then we're going to touch more on this next, not next week, but the week after, because we'll do another, or maybe even a week after, 2 weeks. December 6th is the next when we do our building activity pages. But definitely, class page on one side, candidates on the other. Just come under designs, page surfer. Any of these under are great for candidates. Probably the more basic ones are just going to be under just the regular candidates. Some has headlines and some just have basic picture boxes. So you can just drag and drop one over. And sometimes you don't even have to use a template at all. So if that other side is blank, you are just able to drag and drop your candidates on this page and size them to liking. Can you show how to, okay, good question. I'll go on to the next one here. Can you show how to print the class sheets again to share with teachers for editing? Sure thing. So we're going to go back under to the image library. And I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. So you're going to select your class, and then you're going to come up here and you're going to click on the preview button. And that's what's then going to generate your class sheet here. And then just depending on what browser you have, where the options will be, you should still be able to download it. If you want to download it digitally, hook it onto an email and send it out to the teacher, and that way the teacher can print it. And or if you want to go ahead and print it yourself and hand it out to them, either way is whatever works best. Good question. Good question. All right. Okay, I'm not seeing any others here, and we're kind of past on time, so glad everyone was able to make it. Thank you for the questions there. Good questions coming through here. So we're going to go ahead and probably wrap this up for this afternoon. So thank you again, everyone, for joining us this afternoon. So the demonstration of the functions related to the creation of portrait pages should eliminate some of the trial and error that can occur when working on the actual yearbook. Printing portrait sheets and editing class data ahead of time should result in better accuracy on some of the most important pages of your book. So again, feel free, join us in a couple of weeks from now where we will do building activity pages. And we get to go through almost an hour on that, show you how to put the fun stuff together. So thank you again, everybody. Have a great rest of your afternoon. We'll see you later. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Josh?
you.
Hi, Josh, are you still there?
Actually, I'm Lucas.
Oh, sorry, Lucas. Sorry, I thought I'm sorry. This is Janine. I got on late. Just very quickly, all those those folders, you created those, right? Those are the teachers' names, and you have to create all those folders first before all those pictures get put in there, right?
No, actually, so we have a tool here that uploads the class photos based on the photographer's index.
So we
So
just get a CD or something and send that to you. Is that what we do?
yes, yeah. So if you get a physical CD, like I said in the beginning, you'll want to contact your rep to get a padded envelope to send those in. But if you get like so if you do like with Life Touch or some of the other companies, they will
Hmm.
email you a link. And
Okay.
it's basically it's taken the form of a CD. So we'll get that
Okay.
in. We'll download the photos, but a lot of photographers will include an index file. It's a little text file, but it's broken as here's a column with the folder name, a column with the student's image name number, column for their last name, column for their first name, and then there's another. Sometimes there's one or two columns that you will either have a grade level associated with that student or a teacher name. And
Okay.
so that's how these folders are created based on if it's a grade level folder or a teacher name folder. So that's how.
Okay.
So yeah, no, you don't have to pre-make these
Okay. Good.
before you send in
Okay.
class photos.
So technically, if we've already gotten, like, I already have my daughter's picture, then this should be ready to go from the company. We should really have this already, right? Like,
Possibly, I don't know. You would have to check with your photographer.
okay. All right. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay.
All right. Well, if there's no other questions here, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. So thank you again, everyone, and
Thank
we'll
you.
see you in a couple weeks.
Okay. Bye bye.